You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
Get to transmission.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Good afternoon and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here live and you can listen to us on 105.5 FM, 660 AM, or listen to us online at floridamanradio.com. You can also download the Florida Man Radio app or the iHeartRadio app. So we pretty much can take us anywhere you want to go. The number here is 321-339-1055. And so you can call and text in at any time. I am your host today, Angela Smarito. And in studio with me, we have DJ Heather, the producer.
Hello, hello.
So happy to have you here. Melissa Jacob is in the house too, BaaD Radio videographer. And as always, making us look great. We almost all got the pink. Heather didn't get the memo. Oh, she has it. Woohoo! Striking Brand is producing our weekly YouTube videos for BaaD Radio, which you can find on baadradio.com. And if you're looking for some excellent video and photography work, then you have to check out Melissa's website, which is strikingbrand.com. The video portion of BaaD Radio wouldn't be possible without our sponsor, Dr. James Bowles. His new practice opens November 1st. And, Heather, do you have a drum roll? I have the name. The name.
Newly married, Dr.
Oh, let's see here. It is called Orlando Spine Studio.
Oh,
Woohoo!
okay.
So
Nice.
congratulations, Dr. James. The address is 11500 University Boulevard, and so that is over in the UCF area. So thank you, Dr. James, and congratulations on becoming a husband. We have a very special guest today. Please welcome Dr. Nicole Eisenbrown, founder of Amore Medical Spa.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
I guess it's afternoon.
Afternoon today.
Well, you see, that's what's a little messed up is because normally the show's at 11. So
Yeah.
I immediately had caught myself because I always say good morning. And so I was like, caught it afternoon.
Well, I always say good morning, and I always say it comes from residency because you're never leaving the hospital anytime soon. So it might as well be morning.
Mm-hmm. And then, as always, we have Emily Murphy in studio with us
Hey.
today. Hey, girl. Thank you so much. Last week I wasn't here. I told you I took a trip with Tom to St. Augustine. So the ladies held down the fort, and I absolutely loved it. The show was so good. It's like one of those things where you're just like, wow, why am I really that low? I'm like talking right into it. Oh, here we go.
You're not talking right into it.
There we go. Is that better?
That's better. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah,
At first, I had such a hard time with my volume. But anyway, I was in St. Augustine. On the way back, we got to listen to the show, and it was just so good. It was, like I said, I laughed. I got information. I was entertained, and that's really what it's all about. And then I knew that the people within the show were making connections with each other. So that's even more of what the show is about, is networking.
Yeah.
Got to talk about my sponsors. So this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Premier Couples Superstore. Cut out the middleman and go straight to the source. Premier Couples Superstore has everything from sexy bedroom outfits, toys, games, love oils, and everything in between. You can visit them at premiercouples.net because couples that play together stay together. Also, a huge thank you to Liberty Property Inspections. They specialize in home and commercial building inspections, environmental inspections, roof certifications, and pool inspections. They can also save you money with a wind mitigation inspection, so you can call them at 407-739-5795 or visit them at libertypropertyinspections.net. Also want to thank Artistic Beauty, Kazoo Creative, and Angela Keen's Hair and Makeup. So finally, you guys feel that AC kick in?
Yeah. Did that happen by?
I don't know.
We
I don't
don't
know
know?
because it went from like really stifling hot in here, and then it got cool. Then it
And then
got
it got
hot
hot
again,
again, and now
so
it's
now
getting
it's
cold
getting
again.
cool.
And we're sure that's not your hot flashes because we're all.
I don't know.
I'm just
Is everybody
kidding.
else
We're all
feeling it?
it.
It actually could be. So this is the part of the show where we go to Emily for her health feature, and I wanted to give a shout out to Alvin. Do you see how much he's plugged that?
Yes,
And,
yes, I love
and
it.
I love that too.
Thank you, Alvin.
Yeah, what you got for us this week?
So, I went to a kindergarten classroom this week, and I talked about why it's important to eat fruits and vegetables. And I thought, well, we should just continue that
Right.
conversation because with adults it's the same way. We start getting really busy, and I'm sure we've all done it where you've bought a bunch of fruits and vegetables and fresh stuff.
Always.
It goes into what I call the drawer of death, right? If you don't take it out of the bags and prep it, right? And a week later everything is bad, and you're like, next time you go to the grocery store, you don't want to waste your money and buy more fruits and vegetables that you didn't eat. So sometimes we get ahead of ourselves on the habit we want to create, and just giving up, though, is not the answer, because we all need fruits and vegetables for vitamins and minerals. We need the fiber. We need it to help us support digestion and, help us detox the estrogen and the hormones and things, right? That's all part of having, good, healthy fiber. We need it for hydration. We've talked about hydration in here. When we're eating fruits and vegetables compared to packaged foods, we get a lot more water.
That's something I never thought about.
Yeah. So, when we miss that when we're not, eating whole, real foods. So, one of the big reasons I hate dieting too is like when you're going low carb or keto diets, if you were to track your food, you'll see that quickly. I mean, if you eat an apple and maybe some other vegetables during the day, you could be up around even 40 to 50 grams of carbohydrates.
Right.
And so that'll freak people out, and they'll start pulling those things out of their diet, which they're pulling away key minerals and nutrients and vitamins. And they're also pulling away hydration, and they're also pulling away fiber. So they think they're doing well and trying to get into calorie deficits when actually they're slowing their metabolism down. They're not detoxing properly. A lot of times you can become constipated on low calorie and keto diets. And these are signs. That's when our body's telling us, like, this might not be the thing for you.
So the thing about the fruits and vegetables, mostly the fruits though, is that you get so much mixed information. Apple's good. Oh wait, no, apple's bad because it's high in sugar. Banana's good. Oh wait, no, banana's not good. And so it gets so overwhelming.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay.
She lost me at apples have carbs. What?
Yeah,
and sugar.
yeah.
But I love apples, but I don't really eat them a lot just because of,
Well, we have to remember, obviously, that we want to be able to moderate our carbs in that if we're sitting all day, we don't want to be eating carbs, even fruit,
but
all
an
day
apple's
long.
a heck of a lot better than a slice of bread.
Exactly. Totally. So if we're looking at like what's the better option, what's the best option, piece of fruit. A piece of fruit that still has its fiber in it because it's not
Is that
been
in the
juiced.
shell? Is that in the skin?
Well, no, it's in the whole apple.
Okay.
And even bananas have fiber, and so they have, components that don't just spike your blood sugar. Like bread has like a white bread has no fiber in it, so it's not going to help you balance your blood sugar throughout the day like a piece of fruit naturally does that. So I had a girl once that she kind of took this overboard and was eating 2 to 3 packets of grapes all day and couldn't understand why she was gaining weight.
Right.
And she just thought it was because it was healthy. And this is why we need to investigate a little bit. I always talk about higher protein diets too. So those things will help us balance some of that out. We shouldn't just eat one food all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just an easy rule to stick by. And what brings me to my next point is when they've done studies on the gut microbiome and gut health, they say people eating up to 30 different kinds of fruits and vegetables, plants, things that come from the earth, like creates a really healthy microbiome in your gut. It allows us to
30 a day?
30 a week.
Oh, okay.
So a variety.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So if you want, you can try to list out like all the things you eat every week and see, how
I certainly don't eat 30.
how you-
I'll
you
stick
fall
with like
short.
the raspberries and blueberries. Those are the ones that I really like a lot.
Right.
I was curious about like the prepackaged stuff because you can get like dried apple slices, something that you can take with you that's a little bit more.
Yeah.
Is that still good?
There are some benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes away the hydration component. And sometimes you can overeat those things because eating a whole apple or eating a bag of apple chips, there might be 4 apples in there.
Oh,
and you just
yeah.
threw them down like potato chips, and those calories, start to get really high. So that's something to think about when you're looking at dried fruit. And then a lot of dried fruit is going to have added sugar.
I have to look at that. I just know it's convenient.
Or high fructose corn syrup. But I always carry an apple with me too, and that's super convenient. They don't get mushy, and if you eat it by the end of the week, like it should last.
Yeah, yes. I've brought them with me.
People ask like, what kind of protein bar should I eat? And they have all sorts of weird stuff in them. So if it's something that you need on a regular basis, like, eat an apple or a piece of fruit. I was going to give some tips though on easy ways to get some of these things
Mm-hmm.
in. How much time do we have, Heather? Oh, okay.
let's
We're
do
good.
it.
We're good.
And
So,
doctor, you can throw you anything at any time, girl.
I mean, how
It's
many a
open.
day does everybody eat?
Of
Like
apples?
fruits and vegetables. No.
Oh.
And see, the one thing, let me say one thing too about eating the same fruits and vegetables all the time is that it doesn't contribute to let your body build different enzymes inside your gut. So you get like the same, if you're eating the same foods, you'll only produce the enzymes for those same foods. So you'll downregulate what your body should be doing by not getting a variety. So like what I said in the kindergarten class this week, and it was hilarious.
I can imagine. I didn't realize that it was just the one time. I'm really bummed.
Well, so I brought 20 different fruits and vegetables, like all weird stuff, garlic, onions, a zucchini, and a cucumber, and they had to try to guess what they were. And they
Did
were
you
like,
get any of it on video?
mind blown. I think the teacher might have, but I said to them, and I've done this before with my kids. Gone into their classrooms, and so I have a little spiel. But asking your parents, can we try something new this week? And adults can do that too. Let's try like one new vegetable this week. Let's try one new fruit, just something that's a little out of the ordinary, to start developing other tastes for things, one with kids.
Right.
And adults need that too. And we can get to some people get where they don't like fruits and vegetables anymore because they're eating so much processed food.
Yeah.
So how many fruits and vegetables a day?
I was just doing a mental. But if you add vegetables in,
Yeah.
I would
Or
probably for the
plants,
week I would
seeds,
say about
nuts.
10. My
Okay.
variety is about 10.
Okay.
I had 3 apples on the way here.
That's one. That only counts one.
3 apples.
That
How
would give
long
me
is your
such.
drive? That's like one apple every 10 minutes or something. If you're.
I don't know. Yeah.
And how about you, Dr.
I
Eisenbrown?
probably fail on that category
Okay.
too. I mean, it's because we're always on the go, and unfortunately, fast food is not healthy food.
Yeah.
But an apple or a banana thrown in the car, to eat on the way would be a way to get around that. But I probably fail on that too. I don't even know that I have 10.
Well, I have like these variety things that there's like 100 calories, but it's like a mixed nuts, and they'll do like dried cranberries and the little things like that to give it, but it's not a lot, but it's enough to give it a little bit of sweetness. So
Yeah.
I do like those.
And they're sugared.
Yeah,
no,
cranberries
actually,
are
this one-
almost
this one-
always
well,
sugared.
Yeah. The one that I found is not sugared, but
So if you eat raw cranberries, or if you
They're
make
dried,
them,
yeah.
well, they're bitter.
Bitter. Very bitter.
Yeah. So if you dry,
maybe they are then.
Yeah, if you're having a sweet cranberry, it's got
Or it's raisins,
sugar
maybe.
injected in
I
it.
can't remember. Anyway, sorry. go ahead.
Raisins are sweet though, because those are great. So, okay, my tips: buy frozen veggies first. So this is an easy way to get into the habit without worrying about your food going bad.
Is that
so? I
is
stock
that
up on
for
frozen
vegetables as well as fruits?
Well, yeah, you can do frozen fruits that you would eat in like smoothies and stuff, but frozen veggies is a good way to make sure nothing goes bad and then ease into eating them. Don't steam stuff in a microwave in a bag because that's bad for our hormones and gives us a
good
bunch
to
of
know.
chemicals. So when it says steam in the bag, take it out of the bag, put it in glass. Pair your habits by assigning fruits and veggies to meals. So maybe breakfast, you have a fruit with protein. Lunch, maybe you have a fruit and a vegetable, and then dinner, you have like a vegetable and a salad maybe. So if you start just planning and then you just plug into the plan, it can become easier for our brains to handle instead of, how am I going to get all this in? And you start thinking and get anxiety, and we don't want to complicate
That would be
things.
me.
So just eating raw or slightly cooked carrots. Eating raw carrots is an easy snack.
I love
it's a
raw carrots.
really good
And I love
high
celery.
fiber
Is
snack.
celery decent?
Celery's good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
There's
like
not
celery.
a lot in it, but it's,
It's a
carrots
good
have more
conduit for
fiber.
like scooping stuff with.
yeah, as long as the sauce is okay. But carrots are easy to eat. Most people consider them snack foods. They don't go bad quickly, and they help us detox estrogen. They're high in fiber, so they're really great. I eat them almost every day. And then my last tip is using supplements to conveniently sneak in the extra stuff. So a greens powder with a whole variety, just in shots. You can make it, you mix the water and shoot it. Things like chia seeds, nutritional yeast, flax seeds, stuff that can go in shakes or easily, just mix in yogurts, beet powders, and then nuts. Nuts,
Yeah.
different types of nuts too.
I'm a huge fan of that. And then you know what? I want to talk to you about superfoods too. Like, because you always hear like superfoods, and I'm like, what's the big difference? You don't have to talk about it right now, but like the difference between like just
All
a
right,
regular
next week,
vegetable and a superfood.
All right, stay tuned. I got some of my favorites.
Okay,
favorite
great.
superfoods.
All right, you guys, we're going to go to first break. So just stay tuned because when we get back, we're going to be talking with Dr. Nicole Eisenbrown. So you don't want to miss it.
Florida Man Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And we are back. And just a reminder, you can call or text in at any time to 321-339-1055. This portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Impact Electric of Orlando, who focuses on residential and electrical work. Zach and his team focus on doing things right the first time to ensure that you, your family, and your home are safe. Everyone needs to know a good electrician that you can trust, and that is Impact Electric of Orlando. You can reach them at 407-747-0874 or visit impactelectric.com. Also want to thank Andrews Law PA and Sheepdog Promotional Products. Before we jump in with Dr. Eisenbrown, I want to give a shout out to Eric, or EZ as we call him. He is at Frogger's in Altamont Springs right now. They're actually giving away Blake Shelton tickets.
Oh, I just bought
right?
mine a couple weeks
so,
ago.
Frogger's is a Steelers bar, and so I guess there's a big Steelers game. I'm not a football fan. I'm never gonna follow it. So I know he's out there and he's giving away tickets. So go out there. They have great drink specials and a lot of great food. All right, so we are here with Dr. Nicole Eisenbrown. How are you? And welcome.
Thank you. I'm outstanding. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm very excited that you're our only guest today because there's so much to talk about. It's like, where do we get started? But let's start off just by you telling everybody a little bit about Dr. Eisenbrown.
Oh, okay. Well, obviously, you've got my name, Dr. Eisenbrown. I'm a urologist. That's what my training is. I'm board certified in both general urology and female pelvic medicine and reconstructive surgery. I was in practice for 16 years in Panama City until Hurricane Michael destroyed that community, and that's when I ended up here in Orlando. And when I got here is when I started Amore Medical, which is what I do now.
Right. Is there a lot of women in urology, or is that pretty much?
It's growing. It's growing. When I finished my training, there was only 650 that had ever been trained in the United States, and 2/3 of them were either in training or in their first 2 years after training. But now I would say probably most programs are 50% female.
Really?
But it'll because it's one of the kinder, gentler surgical specialties. So if you like operating, ENT and urology are very attractive fields for women to go into.
And urology, what all does that cover?
It's the surgical side of the urinary tract. So kidneys, ureters, bladder. It also includes sexual health in both men and women. People tend to think of urology as a male specialty because of erectile dysfunction, prostate, all of that. But 40% of urology patients are women. And the reason I got interested in it is because I was a urology patient. I only have one kidney. So that was my interest in urology.
Were you born?
No, well, I had I had reflux and duplicated ureters on the left. It wasn't discovered till I was 10 that it was non-functioning kidney. And they didn't do anything with it until I started having recurrent pyelonephritis. And so it was removed when I was 20. But I've essentially only had one kidney my whole life. I just didn't learn about it till I was 10.
Wow.
All right. And so you knew about urology, and that's really what directed you in that direction.
Correct. Yeah.
Nice. So what made you start Amore then?
Well, I spent a good part of my when I was in private practice treating both men and women with sexual health, but mostly women back then, because I was the only female urologist in the entire Panhandle and within 300 miles. So most of my patients became women. And we do all these things to help men with their sexual health, and we do very little to help women. And I would have
heard that.
Yeah. I would have, this was a very common thing that women would say to me. They'd come in and they'd say, if I never had sex again, I'd probably be okay with that. But my husband wants to, and I would like to at least participate and enjoy the process.
Right.
So I did a lot of sexual health with women there. But then before I left private practice, I had learned about, actually went to work with Dr. Runnels, who's the inventor of the O shot and the P shot, and learned about
I want to talk about those
PRP.
in more detail, too.
So when I got here, I thought I was very excited about doing more, what I consider more natural, holistic ways of healing the body instead of just throwing a pill at it or surgery. And then I learned about Gainswave and Vivive and some other technologies that we'll talk about of different things that help men and women with pelvic health in general, but the slant is definitely sexual health, sexual wellness.
So you had mentioned to me the ratio of FDA approved drugs for erectile. So tell everybody else.
Well, there's I think last time I checked, there's over 50 FDA approved medications to help men with their sexual health, and to date there is one for women, and that's a pill called BaaD, and they fought it for 7 years. They because they didn't recognize it as a disorder. For a woman not to have, for her to have low libido, unless it bothers her, it's not considered a medical problem. Yet every other medical problem, if you have high blood pressure but it doesn't bother you, you still have high blood pressure, right? So so it's. I think as a practice, medicine, we have not really taken women's sexual health issues seriously, and it's a shame.
It is a shame, and I kind of feel like I'm going to be like this pioneer. I think I'm going to start yelling about it because I think that I know for me personally, sex is an important part of Tom and I's relationship, and without it, it would just, I don't know. I don't think I would feel, I think it would affect me emotionally as well as physically. I think I would go downwards. I get depressed and I love being a woman. You
can be emotionally connected with another human being without having sex or having intercourse, but it's a much easier way to be connected with somebody when you can be physical with them.
Yeah.
So I think it's an important part of staying healthy. Talking about health, there was a study in England, this was years ago, but they found that men who had an average of 3 episodes of intercourse per week had a 50% lower chance of heart attack and stroke than the remainder of the people that were in the study. Now, they didn't separate out the connection part of it, and we all know that men that are married and in good relationships also tend to be healthier and live longer.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much we could talk about right now. Which direction should we go, Emily?
Well, I mean, it's there's a lot of stigma that is not, women, even when I talk about it in my practice with low libido caused a lot by stress and just, all these other things as women we think about all day long, and we have to be more in the mood and more ready, right? And guys are like, I'm ready at the end of the day. And we're like, I need a few hours maybe, or at least some
It's much more emotional for us.
Right.
It's much more complicated for us. We're doing we multitask in our brains. We're thinking about what we have to do with the kids and the shopping
laundry,
list
sports,
and et cetera.
Yeah.
So I kind of have a joke with my husband that he has to give me warning. Just let me know so that I can start working on it and getting into the mood.
Right.
Because I can't just turn it on like a man can. They just. Yeah.
I totally get that too. So okay, I definitely want to talk about it, but I want to go back and just really talk about like the health part of it. What are some of the reasons why a woman would start to lose her libido or her drive or any?
Well, hormones is the key to most of that, and when we go through menopause, we lose our estrogen, but we also lose our testosterone, and we don't think of testosterone as playing much of a role in women's health, but it does. It's certainly responsible for libido. There's also some glands in the vaginal area that are testosterone-dependent glands, so it can cause pain with intercourse. We always blame dryness as the reason for pain with intercourse, but actually the most common cause of pain with intercourse for women is something called hormonally mediated vestibulodynia. And yes, I had to practice saying that.
I was going to say, is there like an abbreviation for that one?
Well, it used to be called vulvar vestibulitis syndrome, which was VVS, but it was much easier to say VVS than hormonally mediated vestibulodynia. But so
definitely. So hormones.
Well, so in what does that mean, or what you said that's the cause of?
Well, there's some glands that are right in the vestibule.
Right.
There's 3, we can talk about this. There's 3 embryologic origins to the female genitalia. The outside comes from ectoderm. It's very similar to skin, which is where, a skin comes from. So it's dry. It has sweat glands. It has hair. Then about halfway in on the labia minora, you'll see a change in the color of the tissue. It kind of goes from fleshy color to sometimes even red or pink, and people think that means it's infected or inflamed, and it's not. It's just a natural plain the tissue there, and that's the beginning of the vestibule. The vestibule goes from there to about 1 centimeter beyond the hymenal ring, and it comes from the urogenital sinus. So that's where the whole sort of urinary tract comes from, and that area is analogous to the prostatic urethra in men. So both men and women have sort of crossover sort of tissues from the other sex that we don't really sort of necessarily use or recognize.
Right. Okay.
But anyway, in the vestibule, they're the vestibular glands, and they are testosterone-dependent glands.
Okay.
And so when you lose your estrogen, you lose your testosterone, and then
So they go hand in hand.
Right.
and then if you have a gland that is unhealthy, it doesn't produce the mucus and secretions that it does. So then it gets clogged up with bacteria, and just think of it as like a pimple. Any touching of it hurts.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, that was one of the biggest things I treated there. Now here at Amore, I named it Amore because it's the Italian word for love, and I wanted to help couples enjoy, an active sex life well into their whatever age they want to be.
Yeah, I'm totally on board for that.
Yeah, yeah. So and men, men physically can't have sex unless they can get an adequate erection. Women can, but so I do treat more men than women here, which is the opposite of what happened in private practice. But men are very motivated to fix their erections, and they want to do it without medications and without surgery or giving themselves an injection or something like that. So we do the P shot, which is platelet-rich plasma, or PRP, for them, usually in conjunction with Gainswave, which is low-intensity shockwave therapy. The two of them together work very well, but sometimes one treatment or the other is more appropriate for the patient. It just depends on what their desires are and how bad their erectile dysfunction is as to what we recommend for them. And then for women, women suffer all kinds of things. Leakage, leaking with cough, laugh, sneeze.
Yeah.
So we have a radio frequency treatment for that helps tighten up the support under the urethra. PRP is also helpful there. That's called the O shot. With vaginal laxity is something that happens, because after you have a baby or two, you squeeze a bowling ball out there, it doesn't necessarily go back to what it was like beforehand. And, it's sort of unfair. Dr. Runnels explains it this way. He says, when we're young in our 20s or whatever, we fit together perfectly. Okay, well, as we age, the penis shrinks and the vagina gets bigger. So now we don't fit together as well. And that's part of the reason some women will say it doesn't feel as good, so we can use some energies. The Vaviv is the one that I use. It's a radio frequency energy, which stimulates collagen production and helps to sort of tighten the vagina back up. I kind of describe.
But women also, like the ratio of even the amount of time it takes to orgasm is so different. Right. Yeah. We take way longer than men.
I think that depends on the person, though.
No, I mean statistically, right?
Okay.
It just takes us longer, and so that can make it where it's unenjoyable. And I think there's another, women are afraid to talk about that. Women are afraid to ask and open up that conversation, and
that's where
even
the
go to their doctor
the
about
O shot
it.
is very helpful with that. The O shot and FemiWave can help with both of that, because FemiWave helps with the increased blood flow to the whole area, and blood flow is the key to all of this in both men and women's sexual health. But then the O shot, I've had 4 or 5 of them now, I think. But they hugely improve orgasm.
Yeah, well, I can contest to that. So all the stuff that Dr. Nicole is talking about I've done it all now.
Yes,
so I'm going through the process. And I'm going to be actively endorsing it because I think that it's so important. And I absolutely, it does make a huge difference. I'll be 50 and when it was my birthday, January 14th. And I've been feeling all of that stuff is all the things that I was used to feeling on a regular basis have kind of slowed down. And I'm just I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, and that's another reason why women may be less interested in having sex is because they're not going to have an orgasm, or it's not a guarantee, or it's too much work. Let's just skip it. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be, a fair playing field. Everybody has a good time.
We're both going to win.
Yes.
Everybody needs a trophy on this one. I don't always promote that, but
Amen.
So I hear the music. Does that mean we're coming up to break? I saw that on Facebook I had a couple of questions. And so when we get back, we'll go over them on break. But when we get back, we can answer some of those questions that we have. So everybody stay tuned. All right.
Florida Man Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And welcome back to BaaD Radio. I'm like cracking up because I'm trying to get my hair right.
It's fine.
She's like, it's good. It's good. You can call or text into anytime to 321-339-1055. And this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. Servicing your sprinkler system is probably the most overlooked maintenance to your home, but it's still so important. Check out Ground Up Property Services at groundupinc.com or call them at 407-468-4295. I'd also like to thank Four Seasons AC, Artistic Beauty, and 33 Tanning Spa with locations in Altamont Springs and Longwood. So before the break, I talked about some questions that some ladies had, and so a lot of it is just talking about the specific procedures. Okay. So can you go into a little bit of detail about what the actual O shot and the P shot are?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we were talking on the break that one of you guys wanted to know exactly what is the O shot and the P shot. Well, the O shot stands for orgasm shot, and P shot stands for priapus shot, which is the Greek term for the phallus. But what it is that PRP is platelet-rich plasma. It's used a lot in orthopedics and in dentistry because those are very poor blood flow tissues, so they heal very slowly. If you've ever had a broken bone, you know it takes months for that to heal, but you know you have your appendix out and that incision's healed in 6 weeks. So what we do is we take your own blood, we spin it out, get rid of the red cells, the white cells, and a lot of the excess plasma, because what we want is the platelets. Platelets are the key to healing. They carry 21 different growth factors. So a platelet's job in life is literally just circulating around looking for injured tissue, and when it encounters it, it releases those growth factors, starts the whole coagulation cascade so that you get a scab, etc. But it also recruits all of the soldiers, so to speak, in the body that will help heal that tissue. So the idea here is if you take a high concentration of platelets and you inject it into a small tissue, you amplify the healing process. And it's just you being injected with you. So there's really, I mean, there's nothing bad that can happen other than a little discomfort or a bruise or something like that. But what it does in this case is for the man, it's injected into the penis. And for the woman, it's injected in two places, into the anterior vaginal wall where we think the G region is, but it's also where the support structure for the urethra is. So that's how it helps with incontinence. And then a small amount of it goes into the clitoris. For men, it improves erections, and for women, it improves sexual sensation and orgasm and stress incontinence.
Just curious how long those last.
Anywhere from 12 to 18 months for most people. Now, it's you being injected with you, so there's no limitation. There's no, outline period that you have to avoid doing it. One of Dr. Runnell's assistants has gotten like 13 of them because she just loves them so much. And I'm like, okay. So every time he needs a volunteer, she volunteers for it. But like I said, I told you earlier, I've had 4, and I give myself one about once a year. And the results really do last.
Yeah, nice.
Right. So the P shot.
And then the...
go ahead.
I was going to jump to the next thing.
Yeah, no, please do.
The Femi Wave.
Yes.
Femi Wave, there's Gaines Wave and Femi Wave, which is low-intensity shockwave therapy. Now, as a urologist, we've used that technology for decades trying to break up kidney stones. But when we're breaking up a kidney stone, we use it at a very high intensity. Here, we're not trying to break anything. What we're trying to do is stimulate a low-grade inflammatory response in the tissue, because inflammation is how the body knows an area needs to be healed. So you stimulate, we all hear about chronic inflammation as bad, but purposeful inflammation is exactly what the body needs to know that to recruit stem cells and fibroblasts and endothelial cells and everything to come repair that tissue. So that's what we're doing there. We're sort of stimulating a low-grade inflammatory response. What's the first thing your body does to heal stuff? It needs to bring blood flow there, so it creates new blood vessels. Well, that's exactly what we need in both of those areas. So for men, it makes the blood vessels that they have healthier, so they can respond and dilate better in response to the nitric oxide, but also it stimulates the growth of new blood vessels, which leads to more robust inflow of blood when they go to get an erection, so they get better erections. And the same for women with FemiWave. We're creating a low-grade inflammatory response in all the vaginal tissue, so it helps with lubrication, thickens the mucosa. It's funny because it also helps with overactive bladder and pelvic pain, because a lot of women have interstitial cystitis or I guess they changed the name of it. It's painful bladder syndrome now, and a lot of that's caused by pelvic tension. The muscles are very tight, so then you don't get blood flow through them. Then you get a buildup of lactic acid, and then you have this kind of pain cycle that goes on. So if we can stimulate better blood flow into that tissue, it can help with pain and overactive bladder symptoms as well.
And is that, I'm actually going through that right now. And so it's not a one-time thing, you don't just get it done once. It was a series of six,
the FemiWave and the GainsWave are all a series of 6 treatments. They're painless.
Yes.
They take about 15 minutes to do.
We
do it once
you're
a week.
Shock therapy. So what do you, I mean, is it like...
It just feels like a vibration.
Yeah.
Are you sitting in a chair that does it?
It's an example. Well, we have to get to your private area. So for women, we just have them laid down. For men, I usually have them sort of semi-sitting up because they're a little bit more comfortable that way.
Yeah.
And we can get to the tissue to treat them. Okay. But it feels like... I had one patient describe it as being at a heavy metal rock concert and feeling the vibration, but not any pain.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit of like little rubber bands kind of snapping on you, but
it's
not
not
very
even
painful.
that. It's not even that painful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get the vibration because it's kind of like a thumping.
Yeah,
kind of.
And we have ways if somebody's really sensitive, we can put numbing cream on. We also have a Pronox machine, which a lot of people really like. So if anybody's nervous about the blood being drawn, or if they're just anxious, we just let them breathe the nitrous, which is what dentist's office use for people who are nervous, and it just feels like you've had 3 martinis, but as soon as you stop breathing it, it's out of your system, so you're legal to drive afterwards. And so we do everything to make people experience as pleasant and painless as possible.
And then there was one more that we talked about where you mentioned, and it was, am I saying it right, Vaviv?
Oh, Vaviv? Yeah,
Yes.
Vaviv is the radio frequency energy. That's a one-time procedure.
Yes.
That's the other thing too. The O shot, the P shot, and the Vaviv are one and done, where the FemiWave and the GainsWave are a series of 6 treatments. But to answer your question, the Vaviv is radio frequency energy. So the 2 indications for it are for stress incontinence, which if you leak with cough, laugh, sneeze, doing aerobics,
That would be me.
that kind of thing.
That was me.
Or if you just feel like the vagina's gotten a little bit looser than you want it to be because of the children that you have. It just increases the collagen deposition and tightens up the vagina.
Is it a shot? Is it a...
No, it's a probe. It's a really neat machine because it has a patented cooling system, so it cools the tissue. So it's a probe that's about the size of a thumb in the vagina, and it would just kind of treat all the way around. And it's 250 pulses. You don't feel them. Every once in a while, somebody will feel a little bit of heat or warmth.
What I felt is like they put like a grounding pad or something right here, and so I could feel the heat right there, but it's not uncomfortable at all.
It's just a little like a warm sensation. Every once in a while, somebody will feel a vibration, but hardly anybody describes it as painful.
Right. So we kind of digressed a little bit from the hormone thing, but what was the question that we were going to bring up in regards to the hormones?
How to balance pH naturally.
Yes. Okay.
Vaginal pH.
Yeah.
Well,
because you see creams and you see body washes or different
you're not
really
supposed to
bad.
do anything to the vagina. Douches and all that went out in the 50s, so it just disrupts the flora. But back to what you had said at the beginning of the program is your diet is where a lot of that comes from. So eating a healthy diet and having a healthy gut biome, because the bacteria that gets into the vagina, colonizes the vagina, comes from our GI tract. So, we want a good balance of that. So acidophilus can be helpful, which is the probiotics. And some people, also as you get older, if you're postmenopausal, hormones are going to have a lot to do with it. So, if you can take vaginal estrogen, some people don't want to supplement their systemic system with estrogen, but vaginal estrogen, can be given without increasing blood levels of estrogen, and it balances out the vagina, makes it very healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that is so much to think about. What are some of the other things that people can find at Amore as well?
Well, we do some aesthetics. So we have a machine that does Morpheus 8, which is radio frequency microneedling, and that's really good for tightening the skin.
But it's also good for
your face or
for your face,
for your vagina.
No.
Oh, this is for your face.
Okay.
But you can use it. You can use it. Some people, as women get older, the labia majora sometimes get a little floppy or a little bit just saggy, for lack of a better term. So you can use Morpheus 8 there.
Okay.
Or there's also a wing lift, which is platelet-rich plasma. We do that. But back to the Morpheus 8. So we can do that with or without PRP. So like a vampire facial.
Well,
and then we do
about,
regular
like,
microneedling too.
What about like acne scars? Because my son's got acne scars on his cheeks right here, and I was thinking about doing the Morpheus 8.
Either you could do the Morpheus 8, but just plain regular microneedling is very good for acne scars.
Right.
And it's not as painful, because I will tell you Morpheus 8 is a little painful. So we all have to use the Pronox machine with that and a lot of numbing cream.
And then you said vampire facial.
That's a combination of using PRP, the platelet-rich plasma, along with microneedling.
I've heard about it, but you showed me some pictures. You had really good results from it, didn't you?
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt. We put a numbing cream on the skin for about 15 minutes, and then we just use the microneedling pen. We have to draw the blood first so that because we try to get the PRP to kind of sink in. We do it while we're doing the microneedling. Now, for the Morpheus 8, we can't do the PRP at the same time, so we apply it afterwards.
Okay.
Because the surface has to be dry when you're doing the Morpheus 8. But we can still allow the PRP to penetrate through the channels in the skin, and it amplifies the results.
So yeah, it's already our time's already up, but there's so much more I want to talk about. So we're gonna have you back on.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I would very much enjoy that. Thank you.
Just right now, go ahead and let everybody know how to get in touch with you at Amore Medical Spa.
Okay. Well, our phone number is 407-212-9532, and there's two websites that would be helpful. Our main website is amoremedicalspa.com, but then we have one that's dedicated for men, which is floridagainswave.com.
Okay, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah,
very cool.
Because it's very targeted to what men's issues would be. So yeah, floridagainswave.com, amoremedicalspa.com, or you can call us at 407-212-9532.
Emily?
All right, you can find me at gogetemcoach.com.
All right, and I am Angela, and you can get me at baadradio.com. Have a fantastic week.